If someone had told me the CEO with the careful smile would offer $2,000 like it weighed nothing, I would have laughed it off. Vivian Hartley was having the worst day of her 36 years. As CEO of Hartley Digital Media, a tech empire worth $1.8 billion headquartered in downtown Harbor City, she was used to pressure. Board meetings, hostile takeovers, market crashes, she handled them all without breaking a sweat. But family dinners, those terrified her. Specifically, the annual Hartley family reunion happening tonight at her parents' estate in Westbridge, where every single relative would ask the same questions. When are you settling down? Why are you still single? Your sister already has 3 kids, Vivian. Don't you want children? What they really meant was, why are you still single at 36? With the unspoken addition of, and gay, Vivian sat in her corner office staring at her phone. 18 missed calls from her mother. 7 texts from her sister, all variations of, "You're coming tonight, right? And please tell me you're bringing someone this year." She dated, of course, but women in her tax bracket either wanted her money or her connections. The last 3 relationships had ended the same way. Engagement ring, prenup discussion, breakup. Vivian was exhausted. Miss Hartley. Her assistant, Noah, poked his head in. "Your 3 o'clock is here. Cancel it. Cancel everything for the rest of the day." Noah's eyebrows shot up. Vivian Hartley never canceled meetings. "Are you okay? Family dinner tonight. I need to prepare mentally." Noah winced sympathetically. He'd worked for Vivian for 5 years and knew exactly what these family events did to her. "Want me to call and say you're sick?" My mother would show up with a team of doctors. Vivian grabbed her purse. "I'm going for a walk. Be back in an hour." But she didn't come back in an hour. Instead, she found herself at the Daily Grind, a small coffee shop 3 blocks from her office. She'd never been there before. Too common, too ordinary, too far from her usual haunts, which made it perfect. Vivian ordered a latte and sat in the corner trying to formulate a plan. She could bring a paid escort. No, too risky. If anyone found out, she could claim she was dating someone overseas. No, her mother would demand to meet them on Zoom. She could just rough day. Vivian looked up. The barista who'd made her coffee stood there, a slight smile on her face. She was young, maybe late 20s, with auburn hair pulled into a messy ponytail and green eyes that sparkled with genuine warmth. Her name tag read, Tessa. "That obvious?" Vivian asked. "You've been staring at that latte for 10 minutes like it personally offended you." Tessa gestured to the chair across from Vivian. "Mind if I sit?" "Slow afternoon." Vivian should have said no. She didn't talk to strangers. She didn't have casual conversations with baristas. But something about this woman made her say sure. Tessa sat bringing her own coffee. Black, no sugar. "So what's got you so stressed?" "Let me guess. Work. Family. Actually. The worst kind." Tessa took a sip. "Let me guess again. Family dinner where everyone asks when you're getting married." Vivian's jaw dropped. "How did you?" "I'm 29 and single. Trust me, I know that look." Tessa laughed. "Every holiday, every birthday, every family gathering." "Tessa, when are you bringing someone home?" "Tessa, don't you want kids?" "It's exhausting." For the first time all day, Vivian smiled. "Exactly. And tonight's my parents' annual reunion. 200 relatives, all with opinions about my love life." 200, Jesus. That's not a reunion. That's a small army. An army that's been trying to set me up with appropriate men for 15 years. Tessa's expression flickered. "Men? But you're gay. Very gay. Which my family knows, but conveniently forgets when introducing me to their friends' sons." "That's rough." Tessa was quiet for a moment. "So, what are you going to do?" "I have no idea. I can't skip it. My mother would never forgive me. But showing up alone means 3 hours of passive-aggressive comments about dying alone." And then, looking at this stranger who somehow understood, Vivian had the craziest idea of her life. "What if you came with me?" Tessa blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "To the dinner. As my girlfriend. Just for tonight." The pitch tumbled out before Vivian could stop herself. "I know it sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. You show up, we pretend we're together, my family quits harassing me, and once the night is over, we never have to see each other again. No complications." "You're kidding, right?" "I'm completely serious." Vivian slid out her checkbook. I'll pay you $2,000 for 4 hours. That's $500 an hour, more than most lawyers. Tessa stared. You want me to pose as your girlfriend at a family dinner with 200 people, and you'll pay me $2,000? Yes. And we literally met 15 minutes ago. I know how it sounds. It sounds insane. Tessa pushed to her feet. Look, I appreciate the offer, but I'm not an actress you can rent for the evening. I'm not asking you to act, Vivian said softly. Just be yourself, standing next to me, making it clear I'm not alone. That's all. Why me? Why not hire an escort or bring a friend? Because escorts are professionals. They'll treat it like a transaction. And my friends would judge me, or turn it into a joke. You're a stranger. After tonight, you go back to your life, I go back to mine, and nobody gets hurt. Tessa folded her arms. What happens when your family asks to see me again? I'll tell them we broke up. Mutual decision. Still friends. They'll believe it. And what exactly am I supposed to do? Hold my hand. Laugh at my jokes. Act like you tolerate me. That's it, nothing more. Tessa studied her for a long beat, and Vivian watched the gears turn. This woman was sharp, measuring the risk, the weirdness, the money. 3,000, Tessa said at last. Vivian blinked. Excuse me? You heard me. $3,000 cash. Half now, half after. A slow smile curved across Vivian's mouth. You drive a hard bargain. I'm a barista in Harbor City. Rent isn't cheap. Tessa held out her hand. Deal? Vivian shook it. Deal? But we need our story straight. Where did we meet? How long have we been dating? We met here. 3 months ago. You came in for coffee. I made you a latte. We started talking. You asked me out. I said yes. We've been seeing each other since. Simple. I like it. Vivian checked her watch. Dinner starts at 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up at 6:30. Where do you live? Tessa hesitated, and Vivian caught the flicker, pride, embarrassment, before the answer came. Lantern Hill. But I can meet you somewhere. Tessa, I'm literally paying you $3,000 to spend an evening with me. The least I can do is pick you up. Vivian wrote her number on a napkin. Text me your address. And Tessa, dress nice. It's formal. After Vivian left, Tessa stared at the napkin with the phone number and the promise of $3,000. What the hell did I just agree to? She muttered. But she knew exactly why she'd said yes. $3,000 was 2 months' rent. It was the deposit for her photography studio she'd been saving for. It was the chance to finally quit her second job washing dishes at a restaurant. For one evening of pretending, it was worth it, wasn't it? That night, Vivian pulled up outside a modest apartment building in Lantern Hill in her Tesla. She'd changed into a navy dress, elegant, but not ostentatious, and her hair was pulled back in a sleek bun. When Tessa came down, Vivian's breath caught. Tessa wore a simple black dress that somehow looked expensive on her. Her auburn hair down in waves, minimal makeup that highlighted those striking green eyes. She carried herself with a confidence that belied the nervousness Vivian could see in her hands. You look beautiful, Vivian said before she could stop herself. Tessa climbed into the car. You look terrified. I am terrified. Great. We're both terrified. This should go well. During the drive to Westbridge, they went over their story, filling in details, creating a believable relationship. Vivian learned that Tessa was a photographer who worked at the coffee shop to pay bills, that she'd moved to Harbor City from Riverton 3 years ago, that her family was supportive but distant. Tessa learned that Vivian had built her company from nothing after dropping out of Stanford, that she had one sister who was the perfect daughter, that she preferred cats to dogs and thriller novels to romance. Wait, Tessa said, you don't like romance novels? I find them unrealistic. And yet here we are, fake dating for money. That's literally a romance novel plot. Vivian laughed. Actually laughed. Fair point. They pulled up to the Hartley estate, a sprawling mansion with perfectly manicured lawns and a circular driveway already filled with expensive cars. Tessa whistled. This is where you grew up. Unfortunately, I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 siblings. This is intimidating. Then we're even. You intimidate me, too. Tessa looked at her, surprised. I intimidate you, the billionaire CEO. You're the first person in years who's been honest with me. That's terrifying. Before Tessa could respond, the front door opened and a woman who looked like an older version of Vivian rushed out. Vivian, finally. We've been waiting. She stopped, seeing Tessa. Oh, and who is this? Vivian took a deep breath and reached for Tessa's hand. Tessa's fingers intertwined with hers, and the touch sent an unexpected jolt through Vivian's system. Mom, this is Tessa, my girlfriend. Tessa, this is my mother, Eleanor Hartley. Eleanor's eyes widened. Then slowly, a smile spread across her face. Your girlfriend? Well, this is unexpected. Come in. Come in. Everyone will be so thrilled to meet you. As they walked into the mansion, Tessa leaned close to Vivian and whispered, Is it too late to back out? Absolutely, Vivian whispered back. But I'll make it up to you. I promise. Neither of them knew just how much that promise would come to mean. What do you think happens next? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe for Chapter 2. Hit that like button if you're already hooked. The Hartley estate was even more intimidating inside. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, oil paintings that probably cost more than Tessa's yearly income. Everywhere Tessa looked, she saw wealth and elegance, and people who belonged in this world. She definitely didn't belong here. Breathe, Vivian murmured, her hand still holding Tessa's. You're doing great. I haven't done anything yet. You showed up. That's already more than most people would do. Eleanor led them into a massive living room where at least 50 people mingled with champagne glasses. The moment Vivian entered, heads turned. Vivian's here, someone called out. And she brought someone. Is that her girlfriend? The whispers spread like wildfire. Tessa felt dozens of eyes assessing her, judging her, calculating her net worth just by looking at her off-the-rack dress. Everyone, Eleanor clapped her hands. This is Tessa, Vivian's girlfriend. Tessa, dear, let me introduce you to the family. What followed was a blur of names and faces. Aunts, uncles, cousins, second cousins, family friends. Tessa smiled and nodded and tried to remember at least a few names, but it was overwhelming. And then Vivian's sister appeared. Marina Hartley Carter looked like Vivian, but softer somehow with perfectly highlighted blonde hair, designer clothes, and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Well, baby sister finally brought someone home. Marina air-kissed Vivian's cheeks. And you're Tessa O'Keefe? Tessa extended her hand. Marina looked at it for a moment before shaking. Interesting. And what do you do, Tessa? I'm a photographer and I work at a coffee shop. How quaint. Marina sipped her champagne. And how did you two meet? At the coffee shop, Vivian said smoothly. 3 months ago. Tessa made me the best latte I'd ever had. We started talking and I asked her out, Tessa interrupted. Vivian raised an eyebrow, but Tessa continued. She looked lonely, sitting there with all her work papers. I figured she could use some company. You asked her out. Marina looked skeptical. Vivian doesn't exactly scream approachable. Maybe to you, Tessa said, but I saw someone who needed a friendly face, so I offered one. Something shifted in Vivian's expression. For a moment, the mask of the CEO cracked and Tessa saw something vulnerable underneath. That's sweet, Marina said, though her tone suggested otherwise. Well, I'm sure Mother is thrilled. She's been worried about Vivian dying alone with her computers. Marina, Vivian warned. What? It's true. You work too much, Viv. It's nice to see you finally making time for a personal life. Marina's eyes swept over Tessa again. Though I am surprised. Tessa seems very different from your usual type. What's my usual type? Vivian asked, her voice dangerously calm. Oh, you know, sophisticated, educated, wealthy, the kind of woman who fits into this world. Marina gestured around the room. Not that there's anything wrong with being a barista, of course. Tessa felt her temper flare. You know what? You're right. I don't fit into this world. I didn't grow up with marble floors and trust funds, but I can promise you one thing. I see your sister as a person, not a bank account. Can her usual type say the same? The silence was deafening. Then Vivian laughed. Actually laughed loud and genuine. I like her, Vivian said to Marina. I really like her. Marina's smile was frozen. How wonderful. If you'll excuse me, I need to check on the children. She walked away, spine rigid. Once she was gone, Tessa turned to Vivian. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. Are you kidding? That was perfect. Vivian was still grinning. Nobody ever stands up to Marina like that. She's used to everyone kissing up to her. She was being rude. She's always rude. It's her default setting. Vivian squeezed Tessa's hand. Thank you for defending me. That's what girlfriends do, right? Even fake ones. Something flickered in Vivian's eyes at the word fake. But before Tessa could identify it, Eleanor appeared again. Girls, dinner is being served. Tessa, you'll sit next to Vivian, of course. The dining room was massive with a table that could seat 40 people. Tessa found herself between Vivian and an elderly man who introduced himself as Uncle Arthur. So, Tessa, Arthur said as soup was served. Vivian tells us you're a photographer. What kind of photography? Mostly street photography and portraits. I love capturing people in their authentic moments when they're not posing or performing. How fascinating. Do you have a studio? Not yet. I'm saving up for one. Tessa glanced at Vivian. It's been slow going, but I'll get there. I'm sure you will. Arthur smiled kindly. And what do your parents think of your relationship with Vivian? Tessa hesitated. This was territory they hadn't covered in the car. They're supportive. They just want me to be happy, as all parents should be. Arthur turned to Vivian. Your mother seems quite pleased. It's been a long time since we've seen you smile like this. Tessa makes me happy, Vivian said. And Tessa was startled by how sincere it sounded. Dinner progressed through multiple courses, each more elaborate than the last. Tessa tried to use the right fork, laugh at the right jokes, and generally blend in. But she was acutely aware of how different she was from everyone else here. These people discussed vacation homes in the Hamptons. Tessa's last vacation was a camping trip 3 years ago. They talked about which country clubs had the best golf courses. Tessa had never been to a country club in her life. They debated the merits of various private schools for their children. Tessa had gone to public school and was proud of it. You okay? Vivian whispered during dessert, feeling very out of my depth. You're doing amazing. Just be yourself. Myself is a barista who eats ramen for dinner and shares a bathroom with 3 roommates. Myself is a CEO who works 70-hour weeks and hasn't had a genuine conversation with anyone in months until you. Vivian's hand found Tessa's under the table. We're both pretending to belong here. The difference is I've had 36 years of practice. After dinner, people moved to various sitting rooms for coffee and conversation. Tessa excused herself to find the bathroom and escaped down a hallway. Desperate for a moment alone, she found herself in what looked like a library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves and comfortable leather chairs. Tessa sank into one, closing her eyes. This is insane, she muttered. What am I doing here? I could ask you the same thing. Tessa's eyes snapped open. Marina stood in the doorway, champagne glass in hand. I was just looking for an escape. I don't blame you. These family gatherings are suffocating. Marina came further into the room. Can I be honest with you, Tessa? Sure. I don't believe any of it. Marina sat in the chair across from her. Vivian's been single for 3 years. Suddenly, she shows up with a girlfriend nobody's ever heard of. A girlfriend who's conveniently a poor barista, which plays perfectly into Vivian's savior complex. Tessa's stomach dropped. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, I know my sister. She throws herself into work because she's afraid of real connection. And you? You're too nervous, too out of place. This isn't real. She's paying you, isn't she? Tessa opened her mouth, closed it. She'd signed no contract, made no promises of secrecy, but something made her say, ask Vivian. I'm asking you, and I'm saying if you have questions about your sister's relationship, take them up with your sister. Tessa stood. Now, if you'll excuse me, 3 months, Marina said. You claim you've been dating 3 months, but Vivian was in Kyoto 3 months ago for a tech conference. She was gone for 2 weeks. Funny, she never mentioned flying her new girlfriend out to visit. Tessa's mind raced. Vivian had said 3 months. Why hadn't she mentioned a business trip? Long-distance relationships require trust. You should try it sometime. Clever. Marina smiled. But not clever enough. I don't know what game you two are playing, but I'll figure it out. And when I do, Mother will be devastated. Vivian may be willing to risk that, but are you? Before Tessa could respond, Vivian appeared in the doorway. There you are. I've been looking everywhere. Her eyes moved between Tessa and Marina, and Tessa saw her calculate the situation in seconds. Marina interrogating my girlfriend, just getting to know her. Tessa's quite interesting. She is. Vivian crossed to Tessa and took her hand. Ready to go? I think we've done our family duty for the evening. More than ready. They said their goodbyes. Eleanor hugging Tessa and making her promise to come to brunch next month and escape to the car. Once they were safely on the road, Vivian let out a long breath. I'm sorry about Marina. What did she say to you? She doesn't believe we're really together. She thinks you're paying me. Vivian's hands tightened on the steering wheel. What did you tell her to ask you? Tessa studied Vivian's profile. Why didn't you mention the Kyoto trip? She asked about it. I didn't think. Vivian stopped. I'm not very good at this. The whole fake relationship thing. I should have briefed you better. Vivian, pull over. What? Pull over, please. Vivian pulled into a parking lot, killing the engine. What's wrong? Tessa turned to face her. Do you actually want to do this? Because if this is just about avoiding awkward family dinners, there are easier ways. But if your sister starts digging in, she will. This is going to blow up in both our faces. I know. So why did you really ask me? And don't say it's just about the family reunion. Vivian was quiet for a long moment. Because I'm tired. Tired of pretending to be someone I'm not. Tired of dating women who want me for my money or my connections. Tired of being alone in a room full of people. She looked at Tessa. And when I met you today, you looked at me like I was just a person, not Vivian Hartley, CEO, just Vivian. And I wanted more of that, even if it was fake. Tessa's heart did something complicated in her chest. It doesn't have to be completely fake. What do you mean? I mean, we're already pretending to date. What if we actually became friends? Real friends? No performance, no lies, just two people who actually like each other's company. Vivian smiled, slow and genuine. I'd like that. Good. Then, let's start over. Hi, I'm Tessa O'Keefe. I'm a photographer who works at a coffee shop, eats too much pizza, and binge-watches terrible reality TV. Hi, I'm Vivian Hartley. I'm a CEO who works too much, can't cook to save her life, and has a secret addiction to romance novels, even though I claim they're unrealistic. You liar. You said you didn't like romance novels. I lied. I have 300 of them on my Kindle. Tessa laughed and Vivian laughed with her. And for the first time all night, it felt real. So, friends, Tessa extended her hand. Vivian shook it. Friends with benefits. Tessa's eyes widened. Excuse me. The benefit being I pay you $3,000. Vivian said quickly. That's what I meant. That's totally what I meant. Sure it is. Tessa grinned. Take me home, Hartley. My feet are killing me in these heels. As they drove back to Lantern Hill, neither of them noticed that the evening had changed something. The performance had started to feel a little too real, and neither of them was quite ready to examine why. Are you Team Vivian or Team Tessa? Let us know in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss Chapter 3. Things are about to get complicated. 3 days after the family dinner, Vivian found herself doing something she never did. Thinking about someone other than work, specifically thinking about Tessa. It was ridiculous. They'd spent one evening together, a business transaction. Tessa had played her part perfectly, collected her money, and that should have been the end of it. Except Eleanor had called 5 times asking when Tessa would come to brunch. And Marina had sent a passive-aggressive text about interesting choices. And Vivian's assistant, Noah, had noticed she was distracted in meetings. You okay, boss? Noah asked on Wednesday afternoon when Vivian had zoned out during a video call with investors for the 3rd time. Fine, just tired. Is this about Tessa? Vivian's head snapped up. How do you know about Tessa? Your mom called me. Asked for Tessa's number so she could personally invite her to the charity gala next month. Noah grinned. She seems really excited that you're finally dating someone. It's complicated with you. It always is. Noah set a coffee on her desk. But for what it's worth, I've never seen you smile like you did when you talked about her. Maybe complicated isn't all bad. After Noah left, Vivian pulled out her phone. She texted Tessa the morning after the dinner to make sure she'd gotten home okay and to confirm the money had been transferred. Tessa had responded with a simple, all good, thanks again. Vivian started typing, my mother wants you at a charity gala next month. I know that's not part of our deal, but I'd pay you, of course. Let me know if you're interested. She deleted it. Too transactional. She tried again. Hey, how have you been? Want to grab coffee sometime? Delete. Too casual for what they'd done. Finally, she typed, "My mother is relentless. Would you be up for another performance? Same rate. Let me know." She hit send before she could overthink it. Tessa's response came 10 minutes later. "I work at a coffee shop. Your mom has my number now. Apparently, she's already invited me to 4 different events, including Thanksgiving. You might have created a monster." Vivian laughed out loud. She typed, "I'll pay for all 4 events. You can't afford me for Thanksgiving. That's at least 10K for dealing with your whole family for an entire day. Counter offer. 15K, and I'll make sure you get the good wine deal. But seriously, we need to talk about how to handle this. Coffee tomorrow?" "Tomorrow works, but not the coffee shop. Somewhere private. Reporters know I go there now. There are reporters following you to coffee shops. Welcome to my life. I'll send you an address." The next day, Vivian picked Tessa up in a nondescript sedan, not the Tesla, and drove to a small park on the outskirts of the city. It was raining because it was Harbor City, and of course it was raining. But they sat in the car with takeout coffee and bagels. "So your mom has adopted me," Tessa said, biting into her bagel. "She's determined." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. She's actually really sweet. She called me yesterday just to chat. Asked about my photography, my family, my dreams." Tessa paused. "It was nice. Nobody's taken that kind of interest in me in a while." Vivian felt a panging of something she couldn't name. "She's never done that with anyone I've dated before. She usually just performs background checks and judges silently. Maybe she likes that I'm not trying to impress her. Maybe she likes that you're not trying to use me." They were quiet for a moment, watching rain streak down the windows. "Vivian, can I ask you something?" Tessa's voice was careful. "Why are you still single? I mean, you're successful, intelligent, attractive. You could have anyone. Could I?" Vivian turned to face her because every woman I've dated has wanted something. My money, my connections, my status. Nobody's ever just wanted me. That's depressing. That's my life. Vivian sipped her coffee. "What about you? Beautiful photographer working at a coffee shop. Why are you single?" Tessa laughed, the sound thin. "Because I'm broke. Because I work 2 jobs and barely have time to sleep, never mind date. Because the last person I was with walked when I chose my photography over a stable corporate job." She shrugged. "Turns out passion doesn't pay rent, and not everyone sticks around while you chase dreams. Their loss." "Sweet of you to say." "I mean it. I looked you up, Tessa. Your photography is incredible. That series on Harbor City's homeless community? It made me cry." Tessa's eyes widened. "You looked me up. I wanted to know who I was bringing into my family orbit." "Don't look so shocked. You probably Googled me, too." "Okay, fair." She sighed. "Yes, I Googled you. Dropped out of Stanford at 20 to start your company. Built it from nothing. Forbes 30 under 30, then 40 under 40. Never married, no kids, famously private." Tessa grinned. "Also, rumor says you once made a grown man cry in a board meeting. He deserved it. He told me, the CEO, that we needed more female perspectives." "Sexist prick." "Exactly." Vivian smiled. "See? This is why I like you. You get it." "I get it more than you think." Tessa turned in her seat. "So here's my thought. Your family expects me at these events, and the money helps, but I don't want to feel like a hired actress every time." "What are you proposing?" "We do this for real, just not romantically," Tessa added quickly. "As actual friends. We hang out, learn each other, build something genuine. Then when we show up together, it isn't a total lie. We're friends who happen to be pretending to date." "Friends with fake benefits," Vivian mused. "Exactly. I like it. But friends share stuff. They spend time. Are you okay with that, given how different our lives are? Are you okay hanging out with a barista in a shitty apartment who lives on ramen? Only if you're okay hanging out with a workaholic CEO who doesn't know how to relax." Tessa held out her hand. "Deal." They shook, and that same electric jolt flared between them. Neither mentioned it. Over the next 3 weeks, a rhythm formed. Vivian texted Tessa during dull meetings. Tessa replied with memes about coffee shop customers. They grabbed lunch twice a week and dinner once. Vivian started showing up at the daily grind, always in Tessa's section, tapping away on her laptop while Tessa worked, and slowly the pretending thinned. Vivian learned Tessa was allergic to shellfish, loved thunderstorms, and cried at sad commercials. Tessa learned Vivian feared failure, slept with 3 pillows, and secretly watched cooking shows even though she couldn't cook. They talked about everything: families, fears, dreams, failures. Vivian admitted the pressure of running a company, the isolation at the top, the worry that no one would ever love her for herself. Tessa shared what it meant to grow up poor, to watch her parents struggle, and the guilt that came with choosing art over financial security. The fear that she'd end up old and alone in a studio apartment. And somewhere along the way, the lines between friendship and something more started to blur. It happened in small moments, Vivian's hand lingering on Tessa's back as they walked into a restaurant. Tessa's eyes following Vivian across a room. The way they unconsciously leaned toward each other during conversations. The first time Vivian almost kissed her was at Tessa's apartment. Tessa had invited Vivian over to see her photography portfolio. The apartment was tiny, a studio with barely enough room for a bed, a kitchen, and Tessa's photography equipment, but it was filled with Tessa's work. Black and white prints covering every wall, capturing Harbor City in all its rainy glory. "This is amazing," Vivian breathed, studying a photo of Pike Place Market at dawn. "The way you captured the light, you really like it." Tessa sounded uncertain, vulnerable. "I know it's not much compared to what? Corporate art that costs thousands but says nothing." Vivian turned to her. "Tessa, this is real. It's raw and beautiful and honest like you." They were standing very close. Tessa's breath caught. "Vivian, I know. We're just friends. I know this is fake, but God, Tessa, sometimes it doesn't feel fake." "It doesn't feel fake to me either." They stared at each other, the air thick with possibility. Vivian's eyes dropped to Tessa's lips. Tessa swayed forward slightly, and then Vivian's phone rang. They jumped apart. Vivian grabbed her phone. "It's my sister." Yeah, of course. Take it." Vivian answered, moving to the window. "Marina, what do you want?" Tessa couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but she watched Vivian's expression change from annoyed to angry to something like fear. "Absolutely not. Marina, you can't. God damn it." Vivian hung up and turned to Tessa. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The kind where my sister hired a private investigator to prove our relationship is fake and he's apparently been following us for 2 weeks. Tessa felt cold and he has photos of us meeting at that park. Me giving you money after the dinner. Everything that makes this look exactly like what it is. A business arrangement. What's she going to do with them? Expose me at the charity gala next week in front of 500 people, including every major investor in my company." Vivian sank onto Tessa's bed. "She's giving me an option. Admit the truth now and spare myself the humiliation, or show up with you and let her reveal everything publicly." "That's insane." "Why would she do that?" "Because she's never forgiven me for being Dad's favorite, for being successful, for being gay and not hiding it like she thinks I should." Vivian looked up at Tessa. "I'm sorry. This is my mess. You shouldn't be dragged into it." Tessa sat next to her. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know. If I admit it's fake, I look like a liar and my mother's heart breaks. If I go to the gala, Marina exposes us anyway and I look like a liar. Either way, I lose." "Not necessarily." Vivian turned to her. "What do you mean? What if we make it real?" "Tessa, hear me out. We show up at that gala as a couple, a real couple. And when Marina tries to expose us, we have real chemistry, real affection, real history. Because we do, Vivian, these past 3 weeks, that's been real. You can't fake what we have." "What do we have?" Tessa took Vivian's hand. "I don't know exactly, but I know that I think about you all the time. I know that my day gets better when you text me. I know that right now the thought of you being humiliated makes me want to punch your sister in the face." Vivian laughed despite everything. "That's probably not legal." "Probably not." Tessa squeezed her hand. "But this is, we go to that gala. We dance. We laugh. We show everyone that what we have is real. Because even if it started fake, it's not anymore. Is it?" "No." Vivian whispered. "It's not." "Then let's stop pretending it is." And this time when Vivian leaned in, Tessa met her halfway. The kiss was soft, tentative, questioning. But when Tessa's hand came up to cup Vivian's face, and Vivian's arms wrapped around Tessa's waist, it became certain. When they finally pulled apart, both were smiling. "So Tessa said, are we doing this for real?" For real? Vivian confirmed. But Tessa, if we do this, you need to know what you're getting into. My world is complicated. The media, the pressure, the constant judgment. I know, and I'm still saying yes. Tessa kissed her again quickly. We'll figure it out together. Together, Vivian agreed. Neither of them knew that the real challenge was just beginning. But for now, in Tessa's tiny apartment with rain pattering against the windows, they had each other. And that felt like enough. OMG, they finally kissed. Drop a heart emoji if you're as excited as we are. Subscribe now for Chapter 4. The charity gala is coming and Marina is plotting. The week leading up to the charity gala was a whirlwind. Vivian officially introduced Tessa as her girlfriend, not fake, real, to Noah, who high-fived them both. Eleanor called Tessa crying tears of joy, which made Tessa feel guilty about the deception, but also weirdly happy. And Marina sent daily texts counting down to the day of reckoning. She's really committed to this villain thing, Tessa said, reading the latest text over breakfast at Vivian's penthouse. They'd spent every night together since the kiss, learning each other's rhythms, building something real from the foundation of fake. Vivian had a drawer full of Tessa's clothes now. Tessa had a toothbrush in Vivian's bathroom. It was domestic and terrifying and perfect. She's always been dramatic, Vivian said, handing Tessa coffee made exactly how she liked it. But I'm worried about what she'll do at the gala. Whatever she does, we handle it together. Right. Right. Vivian kissed her forehead. I have meetings all day, but I'll be home by 6 o'clock. We need to leave by 7 o'clock. I'll be ready. After Vivian left, Tessa stood in the penthouse alone, looking out at the harbor city skyline. In 3 weeks, her life had completely changed. She was dating a billionaire CEO. She'd been to family dinners at mansions. Her mother had called her crying because she'd seen photos of Tessa and Vivian online. My baby is dating Vivian Hartley, her mom had sobbed. You're going to be rich. Tessa had tried to explain it wasn't about money, but her mother wasn't listening. And maybe that was the scariest part. It really wasn't about money anymore. Tessa was falling for Vivian hard. The kind of falling that made her chest hurt when they were apart, and her heart raced when Vivian smiled at her. But in the back of her mind, a voice whispered, "This isn't your world. You don't belong here." Tessa shook it off and got ready for her shift at the daily grind. She'd tried to quit. Now that she was with Vivian, the money wasn't an issue, but Vivian had stopped her. "Don't give up who you are for me." Vivian had said, "I fell for Tessa the barista. Tessa the photographer, not Tessa, the CEO's girlfriend." So Tessa kept her job, kept her art, kept herself. Even as she navigated this new world that afternoon, as Tessa was closing up the coffee shop, a woman in an expensive suit approached. "Tessa O'Keefe." "Yes. My name is Brooke Lang. I'm a reporter with Harbor City Times. I'm doing a piece on Vivian Hartley, and I'd love to ask you a few questions about your relationship." Tessa's stomach dropped. No comment. Just a few questions. How did you two meet? Are you aware of the significant wealth gap? Do you have any response to the rumors that this is a publicity stunt? I said no comment. Tessa tried to walk past her, but Brooke blocked her path. "People are saying you're a gold digger. That you're using Vivian for her money. Don't you want to defend yourself? Get out of my way. Is it true you were hired to? I'm not discussing my private life with you or anyone else. Now move or I'm calling the police." Brooke finally stepped aside, but not before handing Tessa a business card. "When you're ready to tell your side of the story, call me before someone else tells it for you." Tessa threw the card in the trash and practically ran home. But when she got to her apartment, she was still keeping it, even though she mostly stayed at Vivian's. She found 3 more reporters waiting outside. She called Vivian panicking. "Tessa, what's wrong? There are reporters everywhere. They're asking about us, about money. They called me a gold digger." "Where are you?" "My apartment. But I can't get inside without stay there. I'm sending security. Don't talk to anyone." 20 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up and 2 security guards helped Tessa into her apartment, keeping the reporters at bay. Once inside, Tessa collapsed on her bed, shaking. Her phone rang. Not Vivian. A number she didn't recognize. "Hello, Tessa. It's Marina." Tessa sat up. "How did you get this number?" "That doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm calling to give you one last chance to walk away." "Walk away from what?" "From my sister. From this farce. I know you started as a paid actress, Tessa. I have proof. But I'm willing to make all of this go away if you just leave. I'll even pay you say $50,000 more than Vivian paid you. I'm sure you're trying to bribe me to break up with your sister. I'm trying to save her from humiliation and save you from being destroyed by the media, because if you show up at that gala, I will expose everything, the money, the lies, all of it. Your life as you know it will be over. Tessa thought about the reporters outside, about Brooke Lang's questions, about the photos Marina supposedly had. You know what's funny? Tessa said, you're so convinced this is fake that you can't see what's real. Yes, it started as a business arrangement, but it's not anymore. I love your sister, and I'm not leaving her because you're threatened by her happiness. You love her. You've known her for 3 weeks. Sometimes that's all it takes. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. Tessa hung up. She was still shaking when Vivian arrived an hour later. Baby, are you okay? Vivian pulled her into a hug. I'm so sorry. I should have known this would happen. It's not your fault. Your sister is psychotic. She called you? Offered me $50,000 to leave you. Vivian pulled back, eyes blazing. She did what? I turned her down, obviously. Tessa cupped Vivian's face. I'm not going anywhere. But Vivian, she has photos of the cash handoff from when we met at the park. If she shows them tomorrow night, we'll handle it together. Vivian kissed her. I'm not losing you to Marina's vendetta. That night, they made love with a fierce urgency, equal parts fear and defiance. Afterward, tangled in Vivian's expensive sheets, Tessa traced lazy patterns over her bare shoulder. What happens if she does expose us tomorrow? She asked softly. Honestly? I don't know, Vivian admitted. My company's stock might dip. Investors could panic. My mother will be devastated. But I'll still have you, and that's worth more than all of it. Tessa kissed her. Very romantic for someone who claims she hates romance novels. You're a terrible influence on me. You love it. I love you. Tessa went still. They hadn't said it out loud before. You do? I do. I love you, Tessa O'Keefe. I love your sarcasm, your passion, the way you find beauty in ordinary things. I love that you call me out, make me laugh, and kiss me like I'm the only person in the world. Vivian's eyes shone with unshed tears. I love you, and I don't care who knows it. I love you, too, Tessa whispered. So much it scares me. Then let's be scared together. They held each other through the night, gathering strength for what waited ahead. The next evening, Tessa stood before Vivian's mirror and barely recognized herself. The emerald green silk dress Vivian had bought hugged her curves and made her eyes stand out. Her hair was professionally styled, makeup flawless. She looked like she belonged in Vivian's world. But did she? Stop overthinking, Vivian said, stepping up behind her in a tailored black tuxedo that made Tessa's mouth go dry. You're gorgeous. I look like I'm playing dress up. You look like yourself, just fancier. Vivian turned her to face her. Whatever happens tonight, we're in it together. Okay. Okay. The gala at the Four Seasons was already in full swing when they arrived. 500 of Harbor City's wealthiest and most influential filled a ballroom out of a fairy tale. Eleanor hurried over at once. Girls, you both look stunning. Vivian, your speech is in an hour. I know, Mom. And Tessa, I saved you a seat next to me at our table. I want to introduce you to everyone. As Eleanor guided them through the crowd, Tessa felt hundreds of eyes on her, assessing, judging, tallying her worth. And then she saw Marina. Vivian's sister stood by the bar in a red dress that demanded attention, champagne in hand, speaking to a man Tessa recognized, Brooke Lang's photographer colleague. She's definitely planning something, Tessa muttered. Let her plan. We know the truth. They made it through cocktail hour, through dinner, through forced small talk with people who clearly wondered what Tessa was doing there. Vivian's hand never left Tessa's, anchoring her, reminding her why they were doing this. And then it was time for Vivian's speech. Vivian stood at the podium, confident and polished, thanking everyone for their support of the charity. She talked about the importance of giving back, of using privilege to help others. And then she went off script. Before I wrap up, I want to take a moment to talk about something personal. Many of you have met my girlfriend, Tessa O'Keefe. Some of you have wondered about our relationship, how we met, whether it's real, whether she's good enough for this world. Tessa's heart stopped. What was Vivian doing? The truth is, Tessa and I did meet in an unconventional way. I was having a terrible day, walked into a coffee shop. And there she was, this brilliant, passionate woman who looked at me like I was just another customer. Not a CEO. And I asked her to pretend to be my girlfriend for a family event. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tessa saw Marina's triumphant smile. I paid her $2,000 because I was tired of being alone, tired of my family's pressure, and too afraid to risk my heart with someone real. Tessa could have refused. She could have walked away. Instead, she took a chance on me. Vivian's eyes found Tessa's across the room. What started as a transaction became friendship, and friendship became love. Tessa taught me that authenticity is worth more than any amount of money. That being vulnerable isn't weakness, it's strength. That I don't have to perform for anyone, including all of you. The room was completely silent. So, yes, our relationship started with a business arrangement. But it became real. She became real. And I'm standing here in front of 500 people telling you that I love her. Not because she fits some image of who I should be with, but because she sees who I actually am and loves me anyway. Vivian stepped away from the podium and walked straight to Tessa, holding out her hand. Tessa took it, standing, her legs shaking. "Tessa O'Keefe," Vivian said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Will you dance with me?" The orchestra started playing and Tessa let Vivian lead her to the dance floor. Around them, the crowd erupted. Some clapping, some whispering, some clearly scandalized. Tessa didn't care. "That was the most terrifying and romantic thing anyone's ever done for me," she said as they swayed together. "I'm tired of hiding. Tired of pretending. I want everyone to know that I'm yours. Even if it costs you everything. You are my everything." They kissed right there on the dance floor and cameras flashed everywhere. Tomorrow they'd be headlines. Tomorrow there would be consequences. But tonight, in each other's arms, they were just two women in love, and that was enough. Comment, yes, if you're crying happy tears right now. One more chapter to go. Subscribe so you don't miss the epic conclusion. The morning after the gala, Tessa woke to her phone exploding with notifications. Vivian Hartley reveals fake relationship turned real at charity gala. Tech CEO admits paying for date, a modern love story. Tessa O'Keefe, from barista to billionaire's girlfriend. Stock market reacts to Vivian Hartley's shocking confession. Tessa sat up in bed, scrolling through article after article, her stomach twisting. Some were surprisingly sympathetic. Others were brutal, calling her a gold digger, calling Vivian desperate, calling their whole relationship a publicity stunt. But what made her feel sick was the stock ticker showing Hartley Digital Media's shares dropping 3% in early trading. Vivian walked in with coffee already dressed in a power suit despite it being barely 7 a.m. "You saw," Vivian said, handing her a mug. "Your stock is falling." "I know, Vivian. This is my fault. If I hadn't stopped," Vivian sat on the bed. "I made that speech knowing exactly what would happen. My choice, my consequences. But your company will be fine." Noah already fielded calls from 3 major investors who said they respected my honesty and are standing by us. Vivian smiled slightly. "Turns out not everyone is a heartless corporate shark. And the ones who aren't standing by you are looking for an excuse to leave anyway." Vivian touched Tessa's face. "I don't regret any of it. Your sister must be loving this. Actually, she called this morning crying, apologizing." Vivian's expression was complicated. Apparently, seeing me publicly vulnerable made her realize how much pressure we've both been under our whole lives. She wants continue Perop. Apparently, seeing me publicly vulnerable made her realize how much pressure we've both been under our whole lives. She wants to have lunch, talk things out. "Are you going to go?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to forgive her, but she was willing to destroy me." "Tessa, that's not something you just get over." Tessa set down her coffee and took Vivian's hands. "You don't have to decide right now. Give yourself time to process everything. When did you become so wise?" "I've been wise. You were just too busy being a CEO to notice." Tessa kissed her. "What's your schedule today?" "Emergency board meeting at 9 o'clock. Damage control with PR at 11 o'clock. Interview with Forbes at 2. They want the full story. And about 20 other fires to put out." Vivian sighed. "I might be late tonight." "I'll be here. Go save your empire." After Vivian left, Tessa got ready for her own day. She had a shift at the daily grind, and she was dreading it. Everyone had seen the news. Everyone knew. When she arrived, her coworkers stared. Her manager, Sam, pulled her aside immediately. "Tessa, I need to ask, are the reporters going to be a problem?" "I don't think so. They got their story because we can't have them harassing customers. This is a small business." "I understand. If it becomes an issue, I'll quit." Sam looked relieved. "I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I get it." "Really?" Tessa tied on her apron. "Can I just work my shift?" The morning was brutal. Customers stared, whispered, took photos. Someone asked for her autograph. Another asked if Vivian was paying for everything now with a sneer that made Tessa want to throw their latte in their face. By noon, Tessa was ready to walk out. And then an older woman approached the counter. She looked familiar. Someone from the gala, Tessa thought. "One cappuccino, please." And Tessa, "I just wanted to say what Vivian did last night took courage. And what you're doing now, working here despite everything, shows character. Don't let the gossip get to you." She left a $50 tip and walked out. Tessa stared at the bill, something warm spreading in her chest. Maybe she could handle this after all. That evening, Vivian came home exhausted, but triumphant. "The board stood by me," she announced, dropping her briefcase and pulling Tessa into a hug. "Unanimously. They said I showed integrity, and that's what Hartley Digital Media stands for." "That's amazing." Tessa hugged her back. "So, everything's okay?" "Mostly stocks recovering. PR is handling the press and Forbes is running a story about modern relationships and authenticity in business." Vivian pulled back to look at Tessa. "We're going to be okay." "We are," Tessa agreed. "But Vivian, we need to talk about something." Vivian's face fell. "That sounds ominous." "It's not. I promise. I've been thinking about us, about the future." And Tessa led her to the couch, sitting down together. "I love you. I love being with you, but I need to make sure I don't lose myself in this relationship. I need to keep my job, keep my art, keep being Tessa, not just Vivian Hartley's girlfriend. I would never ask you to give up who you are. I know you wouldn't, but the world will. The media, your friends, your family, they're all going to have expectations. And I need to know that you're okay with me not meeting them. With me staying a barista while you're a CEO, with me living in my crappy apartment sometimes because I need space, with me being me." Vivian was quiet for a moment. "Can I show you something?" She pulled out her laptop and opened a file. "This is a business proposal I've been working on. A grant program through Hartley Digital Media for struggling artists. Full funding for studio space, equipment, living expenses. Everything you'd need to pursue photography full-time." Tessa's breath caught. "Vivian, let me finish. I was going to announce it at the gala, but everything got complicated." "But Tessa, I'm not offering this because you're my girlfriend. I'm offering it because you're talented and deserve a chance. You'd have to apply like everyone else, and there will be a selection committee, so I can't guarantee you'd get it. But I don't want it." Vivian blinked. "What?" "I don't want a grant from your company. I don't want to be successful because my girlfriend funded me. I want to earn it." Tessa took Vivian's hands. "I appreciate the thought, really, but I need to do this on my own terms. Even if it takes years, even then." Vivian smiled slow and proud. "God, I love you. Love you, too. Even if you're a billionaire who doesn't understand the concept of struggle." "Hey, I struggled. I started my company with $12,000 in a dream. And now you wipe your ass with $100 bills." "I absolutely do not." "Okay, I might have very expensive toilet paper." They laughed and it felt good. Normal, real. Over the next 6 months, they built a life together. Tessa kept her job at the daily grind in her apartment, though she spent most nights at Vivian's. She started getting recognition for her photography. Not because of Vivian's connections, but because a gallery owner saw her work and fell in love with it. Vivian learned to work less, to prioritize their relationship, to let go of control. She still worked hard, but she came home for dinner. She took weekends off. She learned to cook badly, but she tried. They attended family events together. Real couple, real love. Eleanor adored Tessa and called her weekly. Marina and Vivian slowly rebuilt their relationship through therapy and difficult conversations. The media eventually moved on to the next scandal. The stock recovered fully. Life normalized. But the real test came 8 months after the gala. Tessa had her first major gallery show, a solo exhibition at a prestigious Harbor City gallery. Every photo was from her series on working-class America, including several shots of coffee shop life and one stunning portrait of Vivian at her desk looking vulnerable and human. The opening was packed. Critics, collectors, photographers, and Vivian in jeans and a blazer, standing in the corner with the biggest smile on her face. "This is incredible," Vivian said when she found Tessa in the crowd. "I'm so proud of you. You're not upset I included that photo of you? Are you kidding? It's my favorite one here. You captured exactly how I feel every day. Powerful and terrified in equal measure." A critic approached. "Ms. O'Keefe, Adrian Park, Harbor City Art Review. This work is extraordinary. Can I ask how has your relationship with Vivian Hartley influenced your art?" Tessa glanced at Vivian, who nodded encouragingly. "It's taught me that people are more than their circumstances," Tessa said. "We see CEO and assume cold, calculating, invulnerable. We see barista and assume struggling, desperate, limited. But people are complex. Vivian's taught me to look deeper to find the humanity in everyone. That's what I try to capture. And you, Miss Hartley?" Adrian turned to Vivian. "How has this relationship changed you?" Vivian wrapped an arm around Tessa's waist. "It's taught me that love isn't something you can control or plan. It's messy and scary and worth every risk. Tessa makes me a better person. She reminds me why I built my company in the first place. To connect people, to create community, to make the world smaller and kinder." Adrian smiled. "That's beautiful. One last question. Any plans to make this permanent?" Tessa and Vivian looked at each other. They'd talked about marriage, about the future, but hadn't made any concrete plans. "We're taking it one day at a time," Tessa said. "Building something real, not rushing because that's what people expect." "But yes," Vivian added, squeezing Tessa's hand. "Eventually, if she'll have me. If I'll have you, you're a billionaire CEO who learned to cook ramen for me. Obviously, I'll have you." The crowd laughed and the interview ended and Tessa sold 12 pieces that night. As they drove home, Tessa's head on Vivian's shoulder. Vivian said, "You know what I realized today?" "What?" "A year ago, I would have been mortified by that interview. Talking about my personal life, admitting vulnerability. But today, I didn't care because I have you and that's more important than protecting my image." Character development. Tessa teased. "I'm so proud." "Shut up." Vivian kissed the top of her head. "But seriously, thank you for what? For taking a chance on me that day in the coffee shop. For agreeing to pretend. For making it real. For loving me even when I was a disaster. You're still a disaster. You tried to make pasta last week and set off the fire alarm. That was one time." They pulled into the garage of Vivian's building. Their building now since Tessa had officially moved in last month. As they rode the elevator up, Tessa said, "Hey, Vivian? Yeah, I have something for you." Tessa pulled out a small wrapped box. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a simple silver bracelet engraved with a date the day they met. "Tessa, I know it's cheesy, but I wanted you to have something that reminds you where we started when you were just a stressed woman in a coffee shop and I was just a barista trying to make rent before everything got complicated." Vivian's eyes were wet. "It's perfect. Help me put it on." Tessa fastened the bracelet around Vivian's wrist. Vivian stared at it for a moment, then pulled Tessa into a kiss that lasted until the elevator dinged at the penthouse. That night, as they lay in bed, Vivian said, "Tessa move in with me officially. Lease your apartment to someone else and live here full time." Tessa propped herself up on an elbow. "Are you sure? That's a big step. I've never been more sure of anything. I want to wake up with you every morning. I want your photography equipment in my office. I want your terrible reality TV shows on my expensive television. I want this to be ours, not mine." "Okay. Okay. Okay. I'll move in, but I'm keeping my apartment as a studio. Deal?" They sealed it with a kiss and then another. And then they were making love with the kind of urgency that came from knowing they'd almost missed this, almost missed each other. 2 years after that first meeting in the coffee shop, Vivian proposed, not at a fancy restaurant or on a beach at sunset, at the Daily Grind, on a random Tuesday afternoon, in front of Tessa's coworkers and regular customers. Vivian walked in during Tessa's shift, looking nervous in a way Tessa had never seen her. "Vivian, what are you doing here? I thought you had meetings all day." "I can't let them. I needed to do something more important." Vivian pulled a small box from her pocket and got down on one knee. The coffee shop went silent. Tessa O'Keefe. 2 years ago, I walked into this place desperate and lonely, and you looked at me like I was just another customer. You made me the best latte I'd ever had. You tolerated my crazy proposal, and somehow, impossibly, you fell in love with me. You've made me laugh, made me cry, made me better. You've taught me that life isn't about control or perfection. It's about finding someone who makes the chaos worthwhile. So, I'm asking you here where it all started. Will you marry me? Tessa was crying, laughing, nodding. Yes. Yes, you ridiculous woman. Yes. Vivian slid the ring on, a simple band with a small emerald, Tessa's birthstone, and stood to kiss her as the entire coffee shop erupted in applause. Sam, the manager, shouted, "Your shift's over, Tessa. Go celebrate." "But I have 3 more hours." "Go." They ran out laughing, climbing into Vivian's car and drove to their apartment building. "We're getting married," Tessa said, staring at the ring. "We're getting married," Vivian confirmed. "Your mother's going to cry. She's going to sob. It'll be beautiful. Your sister will want to plan everything probably. But it's our wedding. We do what we want." Tessa turned to her. "What do you want?" "You, just you. The rest is details." They got married 6 months later in a small ceremony at the Harbor City Art Museum, surrounded by close friends and family. Tessa wore a simple white dress. Vivian wore the same tuxedo from the gala. Eleanor cried through the entire ceremony, and Marina took the mic to apologize publicly for trying to sabotage their relationship, thanking Tessa for showing her what unconditional love looks like. The reception was at the Daily Grind, Tessa's insistence, coffee and pastries instead of champagne and canapés. It was perfect, personal, completely them. During their first dance, Vivian whispered, "Remember when you asked what we were doing that first night in my car? I remember you being terrified. I'm still terrified, but I'm also the happiest I've ever been." "Me, too." Tessa kissed her. "Worth the risk?" "Every single risk, every moment, every choice that led me to you." 5 years after walking into the Daily Grind. On the worst day of her life, Vivian Hartley O'Keefe stood in her office overlooking Harbor City, her wife's photo on the desk beside her laptop. Her company had grown. Tessa's photography career had exploded, exhibitions around the world. 2 years ago, they adopted a daughter, Maya. Life was chaotic and beautiful, nothing like what Vivian had planned. Her phone rang. "Tessa. Hey, love. What's up?" Maya just said her first full sentence. "What did she say?" "Mama, make coffee. She's 2 and already knows you're useless in the kitchen." Vivian laughed. "I'll be home in an hour. I'm wrapping up now. Don't work too late. It's movie night." Maya picked Moana again. "She's 2. That's how it works." After they hung up, Vivian glanced again at the photo on her desk, taken on their wedding day, Tessa laughing at something Vivian had said, joy bright on her face. Sometimes Vivian still couldn't believe this was her life, that a desperate decision to ask a stranger to pretend had become the greatest love story she'd ever know. Her assistant poked his head in. "Miss Hartley O'Keefe, your 4 o'clock is here. Send them in." Vivian closed her laptop. "And Noah, can you do me a favor?" "Anything. Stop by the Daily Grind on your way home and grab me a latte from Sam. Tell him it's from Vivian, he'll know what I mean." Noah smiled. "The usual order." The usual. Because some things never changed. Vivian still loved Tessa's coffee. Tessa still worked at the Daily Grind 2 days a week, to stay grounded, she said. And whenever they needed to remember what mattered, they went back to where it started: love, connection, taking a chance on a stranger who might change your whole life. Vivian grabbed her coat and headed home to her wife and daughter, grateful every single day that the worst day had become the best thing that ever happened to her. Thank you so much for following Vivian and Tessa's journey. Did you love their story? Rate it from 0 to 10 in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more incredible love stories like this one. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. What kind of story should we tell next? Drop your suggestions below.